professional qualifications in the United States are going to be stripped. I had this dream after the slavery dreams, the fourth one. By that time, I was in absolute and total rage. When I woke up, and I told myself I wouldn't go back to sleep, because if that's what we're looking at, then I won't sleep. But then eventually I was sleepy, so I slept, and I dreamt that all nurses in America were removed from their listed professions. So I only know RN, right? I only know the registered nurse, but I'm sure there are many other classes of nurses. I think there's nurses assistants. That's as far as my knowledge goes. But I saw that every type of nurse had their qualification removed from being a professional qualification, and they could no longer be seen as professionals. They were all stripped in America of their professional class qualifications, meaning their professional grade qualifications. And with that downgrade, which was really a demotion, came unexpected loss of access into medical spaces, which have always been the natural terrain of nurses. With it also came the loss of almost all functional tasks that nurses have always done. Nurses were basically stripped in America. They couldn't do anything except maybe carry water to the patient and stand there like some kind of statue or scarecrow that is impotent and not needed. The work that nurses do, which they've already trained for, and who I saw millions in the process of training for that in America. So it was like those who have graduated a long time ago, established career nurses, all the way in the hierarchy, those who came 5 years after them, those who came 10 years after them, those who came 3 years ago, those who were in their first year, and then all of those who were just about to graduate, second year, third year, freshmen in nurses, whatever it is, how nurses do it. I saw the whole range of them presented, and they were all made redundant. Not necessarily a mass firing. They were just literally made useless in society. Here are some of the things that nurses could no longer do. I'm just giving you a condensed version of the two types of dreams that I had on November the 26th. Nurses could no longer count and measure out medicines for people, as they were not seen as having the level of education needed to have access to potent medication or to have people's lives in their hands. Nurses were no longer given keys to access the drug storage in the hospital. Apparently, there's one nurse or maybe three of them who will always be senior, and they're allowed to go into the medicine cabinet like the doctor, and they all have a little key. This is from the movies. I don't actually know if these men and women have a little key, but in the movies, they always have a little key on a string, and they don't give the key to anyone because they're responsible for the meds. Well, nurses could no longer go into the medicine cabinet because, again, they were not seen as educated enough to have access to potent medication or to be administering potent medication to people. Even the head nurses became unqualified to have these keys or to touch medication. Nurses were no longer allowed to read charts anymore. Nurses were no longer allowed to see patients at the beginning of a check-in before the doctor comes. The nurse is the one who talks to you. The nurse is the one who basically fills out your chart. So the doctor just comes, scans the chart, and began to say, you have this, you have this, you have that. The nurses were not handling, I think you call it take-in. The nurses were not handling take-in anymore. So I basically don't know what a nurse could do because all these things that I'm listing are their jobs. They couldn't do anything like that anymore. Something changed in the nation concerning their status, whereby a nurse was no longer qualified to do his or her core duties anymore. But I could not see what replaced them. I didn't see, if you strip nurses of all this power, all this ability, I don't see what, if anything, had replaced them. They just lost their place in society because some law, some regulation, some action made them obsolete. And suddenly the society was told that we don't need nurses anymore. Just a moment, please.